everyone, I am back again. And for those that are new to my channel, my name is Sierra, and I like to take what I read from scripture each day in the Bible and just apply it to modern day life, to apply it to my current life, to current 2025 situations, to just make it modern and easily digestible. I like to then get on YouTube and record it. I also have a TikTok too. But yes, I am right now in the book of Judges, and we are at chapter 12 through 13 and 14, and it's right in the ending stage where the Philistines have now taken over the Israelites and oppressed them, and God is allowing this because they have sinned against God, and they have been worshiping other gods from other nations, doing the complete opposite of what God told them not to do through the prophets. So with the Israelites being oppressed by the Philistines, God still shows them mercy. And we see in Judges chapter 13 where it has Manoah, who is from the tribe of Dan. His wife is out and about, and she comes across an angel of God. Now, everyone describes these angels in the Bible as intimidating, like just it's kind of scary. So I really wonder what they look like. They're not these little fat babies with wings that we see. I've actually seen one before. So yeah, they're like, but yes. So Manoah's wife gets told by the angel that she's gonna get pregnant, and not only is she gonna get pregnant, but she is going to deliver a son. And he's going to be known as a Nazarite by birth, and he'll be consecrated and dedicated fully to the Lord. Now, this is going to be the individual that rescues the Israelites, because again, they are oppressed. So now Samson is being raised up, and the rules were you may not always see that consequence in the moment, and it may be down the line, but best believe, honey, we'll get that spanking. So now they're en route to Timnah, and Samson sees a lion. This lion tries to attack him, but Samson is King Kong, you know what I'm saying? Gang, gang. Like, he's like, oh, you trying to attack me? You must didn't get the memo that the Holy Spirit moves through me, and I'm an overcoming warrior. So he like rips the lion's head off into pieces, and RIP to the lion, straight like that. Okay, so then he keeps on going on his way. Then he comes back and he looks at the lion, you know, maybe deciding if he was gonna make a fur coat out of it, or, you know, snap a selfie by and be like, look at this, y'all, I killed this last week. And then he notices that there's a big honey hive, like beehive with honey, and what is it, a honeycomb inside of the carcass of the lion. So he did, which is so disgusting, but he picks it up and he decides to just eat it and munch on it. Sir, I'm pretty sure future wifey over in Timnah unpack some snacks for you to go back along your journey. Like, you didn't have to eat that. That's nasty. But he decides to eat it. Oh, but what was one of the rules? He is not supposed to be eating from a dead carcass. He's not even supposed to be touching or being near it. So now fast forward, it is wedding planning season. Okay, and the people in Timnah, future wifey, they have 30 groomsmen to be the groomsmen for Samson, but they still ride or die for the Philistines because that's their tribe, that's their people. So Samson comes, you know, trying to just be chivalrous and just be overly friendly. Hey, let me tell y'all a riddle. And, you know, if you get whoever gets the riddle correct, then I'll give you the finest robes. So he tells this riddle, and we see in chapter 14, it's a slight flex because basically he's telling what he did the week prior. It says, Judges chapter 14, verse 14. So he said, out of the one who eats came something to eat. Out of the strong came something sweet. 3 days later, they were still trying to figure it out. Like, what is this riddle about? I have no idea, but I do want the fine robe. Let's persuade future wifey to tell us. Even if she in love with this man, I got to figure out a way to get the answer to this riddle so I can get me a fine robe. I ain't never had no Gucci robe like this. I've been rocking Ross markdowns for 20 years, okay? And it's got tatters and tears in it. I want that Gucci one he promised me, okay? Drip, drip. So, just in case she don't want to tell me, I'm going to threaten her and her family. So we see down in verse 15, on the 4th day, they said to Samson's wife, I don't know why they said wife, because they weren't married yet, but future wifey, entice your husband to explain the riddle for us, or we will burn down your father's house with you in it. Did you invite us to this party just to make us poor? Because if they got the riddle wrong, they would have to buy Samson the Gucci robe, okay? But if they got it right, then Samson would have to get them the robe. So yeah, they threatened future wifey, and future wifey should have been like, you know what, my man's is not gonna let that happen. Like, he's an almighty warrior. He can protect everything that belonged to him, including me. Like, but she didn't have that loyalty. Why? Because she was a Philistine. So she gonna connect with her people. And God allowed that to happen because he needs to humble himself and he needed to obey God. And he needed to be with that chick anyway. So if at the end of the day, it was protection. So wifey decides to tell the 30 groomsmen the answer to the riddle after crying and begging to her future husband, Samson, tell me the answer to the riddle. And he's like, girl, I ain't even told my parents the answer to this riddle. Well, I'm gonna tell you. So she just, manipulates him and cries and boo-hoo. And then he finally tells her, and guess what she did? Ran right back to her 30 groomsmen, her people, her Philistine ride-or-die people who she should be loyal to, because that's her people. And next thing you know, when it came down to the deadline of either having the answer to the riddle or not, you see in verse 18, so before sunset of the 7th day, the men of the town came to Samson with the answer. What is sweeter than honey? What is stronger than a lion? Oh, mic drop. Like, just like that, the riddle was answered. Samson was pissed off. He says, if you hadn't plowed my heifer, you wouldn't have solved my riddle. Oh, not you calling your future wifey a heifer, sir. Like, disrespect. But he was definitely hot and heated. Then the Spirit of the Lord came on him. We see in verse 19, he went down to the town of Ashkelon, killed 30 men, stole all their belongings like the Grinch on Christmas, and gave all the clothing, took all their Gucci, all their fine linen, all their Prada, all their LV, took it all. And then he gave it to the men that solved the riddle, the 30 groomsmen, even though he didn't go forward with the marriage. It says, but Samson was furious about what happened. He said, these HO people, women, are not loyal, and I don't want her. I'm done. I'm disgusted by her, so I no longer want her. So he went back home to live with his father and mother, and guess what? She ended up marrying one of the groomsmen. We see in verse 20. So yeah, she wasn't loyal. She wasn't loyal to begin with. So the moral of the story is God can bring deliverance to what seems barren. Like Samson's mama was old. She was very seasoned as a woman, and they had been trying, honey. They had been trying to procreate and have a little baby, and it just wasn't happening. So they just was like, all right, bet we take that L. We just gonna have fun with life, And God was like, absolutely not. Like, my people are still oppressed. Let me go help them. So he sent the angel of the Lord. But that just goes to show God has the last say. Even when all odds are stacked against you, even when the doctors say no, Even when you are getting old and weary and older and weary, and you are just like, Lord, you made me this promise, or Lord, I want this so bad, and I have yet to see this promise come to pass. Like, you have to realize, like, God is still moving. Don't ever doubt God. Like, our ways of thinking is not his ways. And just when you think like, okay, this chapter is closed, he adds a comma. Okay. Now, when it comes to Mr. Samson, just like Samson, we as Christians who have accepted the call, we are set apart, and this requires true discipline, true obedience. We can't be out here dibbling dabbling in our old life habits. Like, we can't be entertaining our own sinful ways that we used to think was fun and okay when we were of this world, when we were ignorant. We now have to just be honed in and focused on Jesus, focused on our call. And it requires a lot of obedience. It requires a lot of sacrifice that the average individual would be like, girl, what are you doing? What happened to YOLO? You know, like, live your life. Like, absolutely not. Like, you're now living a life fully consecrated to Christ. And a lot of people may not understand that, but you know the covenant that you made with Jesus. And as parents, leaders, and mentors, we need to be strongly rooted in our faith and be built on a strong foundation before we go lead others, before we decide to bring a life into this world, before we decide to help guide and shape the next generation. And just realizing that God, he preps his plan even when we don't realize there's a need for it. That wasn't wasted time when Samson went down to Timnah to entertain his future wifey. Like, he needed to learn something in the moment, as well as God needed to learn, like, okay, he is not fully obedient like I thought, you know. And I still want to use him, but there are some strengths and there are some weaknesses. And I think it's definitely important to lay that at the feet of God, you know, that although we've accepted the call, although we are born again Christ believers, Christ ambassadors, we do have some weaknesses. We do have some areas that do need to be strengthened. And just calling on the Lord and be like, hey, Lord, I'm still dealing with this sin. I'm still dealing with lust. I'm still dealing with anger. I'm still dealing with unforgiveness. I'm still dealing with whatever it may be, to just set it at his feet for him to work it out, because he's the only one that can work it out. And he can iron those wrinkles out and just get you straight back in line. So even when things seem hopeless, just remember, God is still working it out. God is still painting your Picasso. Even when things seem daunting, even when you feel like you've made too many mistakes in your past, just know you are set apart for a reason. You need to remain obedient, and you need to remain truly locked in with the Lord so that you can overcome any test, any obstacle that comes your way, because there will be temptations, and you just have to stand true to the morals that you've instilled in yourself and the promises that you made with the Lord. I hope this message encouraged someone today, and let me know if y'all liked this story of Samson. I actually really enjoyed. I read this last year, and then my pastor dabbled on it a little bit earlier this year. But yeah, Samson is always a good story, and I feel like each time I go into it, I'm learning something new. I'm pulling something out that's different than the last time I read it. So let me know your thoughts, and I pray you all have a beautiful, blessed day.
Running out of breeze, spinning through identity, reveal another pretty little scheme.